Just listen, Ivan. I don't care what your people are telling you. If something were happening, I promise you I would know about it. Because I'm the fucking Prime Minister, Ivan. And the size of my penis is really not relevant here. Julia and I have no secrets from each other. None. And you're like man who thinks he's in horror movie when you're in a rom-com. Relax, mate. I'll see you at the Peace Summit. We'll get all this sorted out and you'll be back at the Grange before you know it.
10 seconds, Prime Minister.
Right you are. Gotta go, Ivan. Love to the mistresses.
From his home in Landfordshire. Are you receiving me, Prime Minister?
Loud and clear, Miss Wolfe. Loud and clear.
Well, let's start with the obvious. What's that in your hand, Prime Minister?
Cheeky cow. But yeah, it's true. 75 days without an alcoholic drink, and I've got to say, I'm beginning to feel the benefits.
It certainly looks that way.
Well, I made a promise to Mrs. C, and as my old man used to say...
A promise is worth keeping?
Something like that, only with assholes.
So, I've heard from my sources that you and the illustrious Mrs. C plan to take your winter break somewhere a little different this year.
That's right. We're planning a walking holiday right here in the territories, which is different for us because, like you, Megan, I've always been a big fan of those warm foreign beaches.
Did you make this decision because of the blockade, Prime Minister?
Well, no, that's a good question. Well, as you know, while the blockade has effectively restricted the flow of goods into the country, we and our neighbours have continued to allow unimpeded travel for business leaders, ministers and such. So, although me and the missus could theoretically go to that gorgeous beach I just mentioned, it just doesn't smell much like team spirit to me. After all, as my old man used to say, when life gives you shite, make shite pie.
It works just as well with lemons and lemonade.
I suppose it does.
Prime Minister, maintaining a healthy body like yours at a time of national crisis must require some demanding planning. What's your regime and how do you go about it all?
Well, the truth be told, it's all down to Claude, my infinitely patient personal trainer. He's a man with a plan. I'm just the prat with the fat.
Well, on that very subject, how are you and Mrs. C handling living on rations?
Well, let me tell you, Megan, back in the 50s, when I worked for you backstage for your Patrick Brannan's dad, did you know I did that?
I think everyone knows that, Prime Minister.
Well, what you probably didn't know was that Graham Bannon was a right tightwad, paid the bare bloody minimum and still found every possible excuse he could to dock your pay even further. I remember he once docked me a whole $5 for having an unacceptably smelly lunchbox type bastard. Anyway, what I'm saying is back then I ate a lot less than I am now, even under rationing. We all did. And let's face it, there are still plenty of people in this country who could afford to lose a little bit of weight.
What are you implying? No, but seriously, Prime Minister, we know you're very busy, but one final question, if I may.
Oh, well, go on then.
When you get home from a long day, your head full of the territory's hopes and fears, what music do you listen to when you work out to take your mind off things?
Well, I know I've got a bit of a reputation for being an old fuddy-duddy, but I'd be lying if I didn't say there's something about little C that just demands one's attention.
Well, let's hope you stay watching, Prime Minister, because she is going to be talking and performing live after the break.
Oh, I'll be watching. After all, as my old man used to say, everything's a treat on a boring Friday with nothing but the wind up your shunt.
It's Wednesday, Prime Minister.
I think the expression still stands.
Peter Clement, thank you for joining me.
And we're out.
Well, that went well, I thought. Nary a swear word in sight. Right, you lot, I better fuck off then. Me and the missus have got a long, hard night with a 2,000-piece jigsaw. Christ, back in me drinking days, the thought of a night like that would make me want to remove my own bollocks with a pair of rusty pliers. But right now, I can't think of anything else I'd rather be doing. Hold on to the ones you love, son. That's the trick. As my old man used to say, when the flaps start wobbling, it's time to put